ever resolution recognizing neglected tropical diseases as both a public health and a human rights issue, backed by 6 African countries and led by Malawi. The resolution calls for stronger action to tackle the diseases which affect more than 1 billion people worldwide by addressing the poverty, inequality, and lack of basic services that allow them to persist. For more on what this means, we are joined now by His Excellency Pacharo Kaira, Deputy Permanent Representative and Acting Head of Mission of Malawi to the United Nations in Geneva. All right, so let's see if we can rather speak from an NGO perspective, and that is the fact that while governments have pledged stronger political action, advocates say the real challenge now is turning that commitment into meaningful change for more than 1 billion people affected around the world. For a perspective of an NGO working to combat neglected tropical diseases and advance the rights of affected communities, we're joined now by Inés Egino, Coordinator for Strategic Alliances at the Anesvad Foundation. A very good morning to you, Inés, and thank you so much for speaking to us. I hope I have pronounced your name and surname correctly. If we could just start off with a base level lesson on tropical diseases, what are they and which are the ones considered neglected, and why that term?
Good morning. First of all, thank you very much for this opportunity. Neglected tropical diseases are a group of 21st different diseases. They are different amongst them, really, and what really it's the N of neglected that brings them together in this group. Basically because there's very little attention, there's very little political will to address them, there's little investment dedicated to them, and it affects people mostly in areas stricken by poverty, in isolated areas with limited access to the healthcare system, to running water, to education. So it's basically that is what unites, in a sense, these diseases in one whole group.
And just in terms of this resolution that has been taken by the United Nations, how momentous is this occasion, and why has it taken this long for it to be recognized?
Well, this is the first time the Human Rights Council has ever adopted a resolution specifically on neglected tropical diseases. There haven't been, it hasn't been on the agenda ever before. That's basically because for decades the global response has rightly been anchored in public health, and therefore in the work of the World Health Organization and the NTD roadmap that they developed in 2021, directing work towards 2030. What this resolution does is it adds a complementary lens. It recognizes at the highest political level of the UN system that this is also a matter of dignity, of equality, and non-discrimination. So for Anesvad, this is the culmination of many months of work supporting Malawi and the core group, formed by Gambia, Kenya, Tanzania, Morocco, and Burkina Faso. And it's a landmark, not because it closes a chapter, because it opens one, a formal one, permanent basis for treating NTDs as a human rights concern moving forward.
And as you say, it's the first time the resolution has been brought to the United Nations, but I'd imagine not because of a lack of understanding that neglected tropical diseases are not just a health condition. So this shift, what does it mean in terms of translation of policy, but just how tropical diseases are reframed and the effect of this?
Mm-hmm. So up until now, NTDs at the global level have been addressed by WHO. The mandates have been given by the World Health Organization, by the World Health Assembly, and they did recognize the social determinants of health, but all mechanisms developed by WHO are addressed to ministries of health, right? So this resolution means that NTDs are not solely a public health concern, but a human rights imperative. This means that these resolutions are preventable and curable diseases, and that recognizing that changes what governments and partners are accountable for. In practical terms, the resolution translates it into specific commitments, adopting a human rights-based and people-centered approach to health policy, ensuring NTD-related impairment never becomes grounds for discrimination or exclusion, integrated rehabilitation and psychological support into NTD programs, guaranteeing meaningful participation of persons affected in the design and evaluation of the very programs meant to serve. And they place a specific lens on how it affects women and girls specifically. So for us, for Anesvad, this is the piece that has been missing. It's a framework where persons affected are recognized as right holders with a legitimate claim, not just to health, but to dignity, to non-discrimination, to participation, that is, to education, to labor, to social services, to meaningful participation in their community, and to accountability and remedy where those rights are denied.
And just finally, can you just share with us what practical steps need to be taken for, especially people in Africa living with NTDs, facing stigma, who are excluded from schoolwork and community life? What approach is needed?
Mhm. Um, so the resolution, what it asks in the first place is for the office of the High Commissioner of Human Rights to develop a report as a technical and evidence-based bridge between the political statement made uh, um, uh, today, 2 days ago, and concrete action in the years ahead. So that is the first step that the Office of the High Commissioner needs to do. And we've asked three things in this report. First, to identify the human rights dimension of NTDs within the existing international human rights framework. So the connection is finally made explicit. Second, we asked for it to examine how the Human Rights Council system mechanisms, of which there are plenty. There's special procedures, there's treaty bodies, there's the university periodic review, how all these mechanisms can contribute to the agenda within their current mandates. Basically, how can NTDs be positioned within every single mandate so they actually are addressed from all possible angles. Um, and third, and most importantly, is to recommend concrete steps for the whole UN system so that draft what steps member states can take to integrate human rights considerations into their national, regional, and also global responses. So we hope that this becomes a genuine roadmap, not a restatement of what we already know about the scale of the problem, but a clear set of next steps grounded in consultation with states, with the World Health Assembly, with civil society, and philanthropic organizations. This report goes to the Human Rights Council at its 65th session that will take place in October 2027. So once we have that report will set those concrete steps that need to be taken, and the Human Rights Council will follow up on implementation by member states and the international community as it moves along.
All right. Thank you so much for your time and insights, Inés. Much appreciated. Inés Egino is coordinator for strategic alliances at the Anesvad Foundation, an NGO working to combat neglected tropical diseases, speaking to us about this UN Human Rights Council's landmark resolution on human rights and neglected tropical diseases, or NTDs. And we're going to continue the conversation. in just a moment. Stay with us.
Madapiri pazoshitika. Madapiri pazoshitika.
Bungwe lowona za mayendedwe a anthu mu chigawo chakumwera kwa Africa